In this video, I'm going to share with you guys the top 3 class setups for the Grau 556 assault rifle here in Call of Duty Warzone. So I hope you guys like the class setups and enjoy the video. So what's going on, ladies and gents? My name is Arbuckle. Welcome back to another video. Today we are once again back on Call of Duty Warzone, and I wanted to share with you guys the top 3 class setups for the Grau 556 assault rifle here in Warzone. In this video, I'm going to share with you guys a rushing Grau class setup, a very defensive class setup, as well as an overall a la carte jack of all trades class setup. So hopefully in this video, you guys will be able to find one specific class that you'll be able to dominate with and start getting yourself some more wins and some more kills. So what you're watching right now is me demonstrate some gameplay of what each of these class setups is going to look like. We're playing against veteran bots. Obviously, keep in mind, in Warzone, it's going to take a little bit longer to kill these people, and it's going to be a little bit different. But I just wanted to give you guys a little gameplay just to demonstrate each weapon so you have an idea of how it plays. But nonetheless, let's jump right into the class setups. So the first class that we're going to start with is the Grau rushing class setup. This is a very, very aggressive class setup, and I wouldn't recommend using it if you're not going to be extremely aggressive. So if you guys take a look at the stats that we're going to get with this specific class setup, you guys will see that we get a really nice boost to accuracy, range, and mobility. The main focus is obviously going to be mobility, but having that nice accuracy and range boost will definitely help us out here in Warzone. We end up losing a little bit of control, which obviously won't be a big deal here. So if you guys take a look at the attachments, we're not going to be using a muzzle. We're also not going to be using a barrel. The laser that we're using is the 5MW laser. So this is going to give us hip fire accuracy as well as sprint to fire speed and a really nice boost to accuracy and mobility. This is going to be really clutch in Warzone because if you're playing super aggressive, you're going to have a lot of really close quarters gunfight situations, whether you're running through doorways or around corners. Having that hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire speed will make a huge difference. So the 5MW laser. We're not going to be using an optic. The stock that we're using is the XRK Strike Light 3. So with this, we're getting aim walking movement speed and a really nice boost to mobility here. The no stock hurts our accuracy, range, and control too much. So I figured I'd stick with that Strike Light. So the XRK Strike Light 3. The underbarrel that we're using is the Commando foregrip. So we're running this for recoil stabilization as well as aiming stability. The accuracy on this thing is really not all that great when you're making a really aggressive class setup. And I wanted to be able to fix that a little bit. So by running this Commando foregrip, we're going to get a small boost here to accuracy, range, and control. So again, that Commando foregrip underbarrel. The ammunition that we're running is the 60 round mag. This is almost a necessity with every class setup that you run here in Warzone, obviously since it takes a lot longer to take people out. So the 60 round mag is definitely going to be key. And last but not least, the rear grip that we're using is the XRK Void 2. So this is essentially the stippled grip tape of SMGs, or this specific SMG, giving us aim down sight speed as well as sprint to fire speed and a really nice boost to mobility. But I'll give you guys one last look at all the stats and attachments that come with this specific Grau 556 rushing class setup. The next class setup that we're going to jump into is the defensive class setup. Now, when I say defensive class setup, I mean super defensive. We're going to be playing very, very campy with this thing, and it's not meant for close range whatsoever. So if you're a camper, this will be the class setup for you. So if you guys take a look at the stats that we're going to get with this specific class setup, you guys will see that we get a massive boost to accuracy and range, which is going to be obvious here with the defensive setup. We're also going to get a really nice boost to control, and we end up losing a ton of mobility, which won't be a big deal because we're probably not going to be moving a lot, and mobility generally isn't a big deal in Warzone anyway. So if you guys take a look at the attachments that we're going to be using, the muzzle that we're rocking with is the monolithic suppressor. This is again almost a given with every class setup in Warzone except for those extremely aggressive class setups. So the monolithic suppressor muzzle giving us sound suppression, damage range, and a nice boost to accuracy, range, and control. The barrel that we're using is the Tempest 26.4-inch Archangel. With this, we're getting damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, and an absolutely massive boost to accuracy, range, and control. You guys will notice that this is the barrel that gives you the most accuracy, range, and control here. So that's what we're going to be rocking with, the Archangel. We're not going to be using a laser, not necessary on a super defensive class setup. The optic that we're going to be using is the GI Mini Reflex. So I decided to run an optic with this class setup because we are playing from long distance. This is really personal preference. I know a lot of you guys that watch my videos like different types of optics. You can pretty much run whatever you want on this because we are playing from distance. I'm a huge fan of the Mini Reflexes, and I tend to do really good with those, so the GI Mini Reflex is what I chose to rock with. But again, you can use pretty much any reflex that you want, but it'll be nice to have when you're going from long distance. So the GI Mini Reflex is what I've got on. We're not going to be using a stock. The underbarrel that we're using is the Commando foregrip. Like I said, a very important attachment to use, getting recoil stabilization as well as aiming stability, and a really nice boost to accuracy, range, and control. Keep in mind, guys, that the aiming stability pro on any of these class setups is completely useless because there is no idle sway on an assault rifle, so we're pretty much not gaining anything there, but the recoil stabilization is really important, so that's what we're rocking with the Commando foregrip. And last but not least, the ammunition that we're going with is the 60 round mag ammunition. Now this, like I said, is extremely important, so make sure that you do have this on. But I'll give you guys one last look at all the stats and attachments that come with this specific Grau 556 defensive class setup. If you guys have any questions or you want to add some different attachments, leave them down in the comments. But the next class setup that we're going to jump into is the overall Grau class setup. This is going to be the jack of all trades, and really just the best one that you can use for all different types of play styles. And whether you like to play aggressive and defensive in the same game, this is going to be a really good class setup to use. So if you guys take a look at the stats that we're going to get with this specific class setup, you guys will see that just like the defensive class, we still get a really nice boost to accuracy and range here, so it's great from distance. We get a small boost to control. We still end up losing mobility, but we don't lose as much mobility as that defensive class setup. So there are some attachments on here that are going to allow you to play a little bit more aggressive and hopefully do better from close range. So if you guys take a look at the attachments that we're going to be using, the muzzle, once again, we're going to be using that monolithic suppressor. Very, very important. I think that everyone should be running this. I've seen a lot of people recently talking about not using it and using in the muzzle brake, but I think the monolithic suppressor is definitely more important, giving us that sound suppression and damage range. So monolithic suppressor muzzle, definitely rock that. The barrel that we're going to be using is the FFS 20.8 inch Nexus. So this is going to give you damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. This is essentially one step down from the Tempest 26.4 inch Archangel. You guys will see that we still get a really nice boost to accuracy, range, control here, just not as much as the Archangel. That's the reason we're not going to be running the Archangels, because we end up losing a lot more mobility. So we're going to stick to the Nexus so that we can have a little bit more movement speed, which will obviously allow us to play a little bit more aggressive. So that FFS 20.8x or 20.8 inch Nexus barrel. We're not going to be using a laser, and we're also not going to be using an optic. So one thing that I've noticed, if you're watching this video, let me know down in the comments, is that a lot of people are starting to not use an optic on ARs, especially the Grau. That's one thing that I've noticed, and I've taken it off recently, and it's so much more fun to use for me because I like to play aggressive and defensive. I've got all different types of play styles and games. But not running the optic is actually amazing, and that's why I decided to keep that off here. So try it out. If you're used to using an optic, take it off and try it out. The iron sights on the Grau are fantastic. We're also not going to be using a stock. The underbarrel that we're using is the Commando foregrip. So this is once again going to give us recoil stabilization as well as aiming stability and a really nice boost to accuracy, range, and control. Again, guys, keep in mind that aiming stability pro is completely useless. So, but the recoil stabilization is important enough to run that Commando foregrip. The reason that we're not running any of the other foregrips, people ask, why not just run like the Merc or the Ranger? With those other foregrips, we end up losing aim down sight speed, and we don't want to slow this gun down even more. What's nice about the Commando is that we still get that recoil stabilization pro, but we don't lose ADS speed. We just lose a little bit of movement speed. So definitely key running the Commando foregrip. The ammunition that we're running is the 60 round mag. Once again, one of the most important attachments to use here in Warzone. If you're trying to take someone out from far away, or you're running into multiple people at one time, the 60 round mag will make a huge difference. And last but not least, the rear grip that we're using is the FTAC R89 rubber. So this is going to give you recoil control, and a really nice boost to accuracy. This is a really important attachment to use here with this class setup, because you guys will see that your con is aiming stability, which again with the AR we don't even need because there's no idle sway. So essentially with this attachment we're getting recoil control and losing nothing, and you'll notice a huge difference. This is a great attachment for distance. If you see someone from far away, even with the iron sights, you'll be extremely steady and be able to laser people from very far away. So again, that F-Tech R89 rubber is a really good rear grip to rock with. But I'll give you guys one last look at all the stats and attachments that come with this specific Grau overall class setup. If you guys have any questions about any of the class setups that I share with you in this video, please make sure to leave a comment down below, and I'll be sure and try to help some of you guys out. But I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see all you guys in the next video.